Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel eddieinreadingland. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you the Three of Swords, reading numerologically. Okay guys, so like I said in the introduction, I am going to talk about reading the Three of Swords numerologically. Now, I do want to say that before I even start with that if I am using a deck where we have the deck and representation of the Three of Swords, which is the heart pierced with the Three Swords or any iteration like that, I will read it as that heartbreak or that break of contract, or because it is what it is. That's what it is. That's what the Deccan meaning is, and that's what it's supposed to mean. I am unable to read that card numerologically with that depiction. I don't particularly like the depiction very much. Honestly, I think that if we're gonna have that sort of depiction, I like it better with an anatomical heart instead of a symbolic heart. It just pierces better. But as in any case, so I like reading the Three of Swords numerologically because it fits the narrative better of the sword suit. If we have, for example, the Two of Swords as decision-making, the Three of Swords coming up next as intelligence, and I'll get back to that in a second, followed by meditation in the Four of Swords, makes more sense to me. Now, what is the basic meaning that I attribute to the Three of Swords when I'm reading numerologically? Is exactly that, intelligence. How I define intelligence is the absorption of information. Now, that is better done in the Three of Swords versus that sentimentality that comes with the Deccan meaning of the card. And yes, I know that Saturn in Libra creates this turmoil, especially because it's located in Bina, in understanding, who's also ruled by Saturn in the Tree of Life. And I understand that it creates a very dark sort of energy and something that we need to grapple with, which is something like heartache, right? But I like intelligence better, especially, if we remove Saturn's influence from Bina, Bina is understanding. So it sort of kind of maybe fits. But maybe it's just me trying to excuse or reason my like of the Three of Swords numerologically. And to be perfectly honest, I really like intelligence. I like absorbing information. I am a reader. You guys know that I love to read. You guys also know that I journal daily with the tarot, and I love writing. And honestly, the Three of Swords would be one of my favorite cards if it were a numerological meaning of the card instead of the Deccan meaning. But as in any case, there are very few decks out there that I know provide a numerological alternative for the Three of Swords. The only deck that I own that does that is the Terror of the Abyss by Anna Turian. And actually, Anna, and I'm going to read from my notes, guys, in her little guidebook in the tarot, she says, the growth and expansion of the mind through multiplicity, new ways of thinking and seeing things. That is another way of interpreting or defining intelligence, in my opinion. But I was also going to say that, interestingly enough, T. Susan Chang, and I'm going to bring her book over here, in her book 36 Secrets, she also tries to intellectualize the Three of Swords a little bit. Let me read you what she says in her book with the Three of Swords. When Saturn, Lord of Commitments and Unbreakable Bonds, combines with the legal finalities of Libra, the result is a promise. You can think of the Three Swords as this: the two parties to the agreement plus the agreement itself. So it's a very different take. Well, not so very different. It's a very interesting way of defining that Decan Three of Swords by intellectualizing it a little bit. And I really, really like it. Actually, I really like this book, guys. I have to give it a reread, but as in any case, it's an excellent book. But moving on with the numerological Three of Swords, it's more important to me that the Three of Swords is read numerologically, because I feel like the Sword Suit, or I like removing the sentimentality from the Sword Suit. So by reading the Three of Swords as intelligence, it just, how can I explain this? Yes, it definitely resonates better with me. It does. It definitely does. And I do tend to intellectualize everything. So it's just, and if you follow the narrative of the swords with the 3 as intelligence, the 6 as science, and then the 10 as wisdom, it's a better, more cohesive structure. And I actually like that better. But yes, in my opinion, for artists out there, and I did it for my tarot, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit in a little later what I did for my tarot. So what I was saying is that artists should provide that alternative. I know that creating more cards, creating 78 cards is already really hard, and creating 2 alternative numerological cards for the 3 and the 10 is even more work. And trust me, I know, because I am creating my tarot, and it is a lot of work, guys. It's taking longer than I thought it was going to. To be perfectly honest, and I'm using an iPad, guys. But as in any case, I can't even imagine trying to do that with oils or color pencil with like other artists do it. But anyway, I wanted to point out a little bit other things about the 3 of Swords and Saturn being Libra. Going back to the Decan. There are sources out there that also intellectualize that that position, or that placing in astrology, right? And I did a lot of research, and I learned that not only is Saturn exalted in Libra, but that this brings with it also sobering lessons, keeping an open mind, cooperation and balance. Being part of the problem creates more problems, but being part of the solution brings peace of mind. That also brings to mind the more passive element of the numerological 3 of Swords, in my opinion, the more passive aspect of intelligence. Intelligence is an action. I think that, in my opinion, when you do research, when you absorb information, and not only that, you choose to retain the information that you think is best for you, that's what intelligence is. That is an action. That is your mind, your conscious mind, working together with your subconscious mind. And it's better for me. I feel like it's so much better for me when the 3 of Swords comes out and you're able to read it as intelligence and numerologically. I'm gonna stop saying that because I'm gonna get I'm gonna get repetitive trying to defend myself. But okay. So one of the other things that I wanted to point out about this, what was it? Oh, okay. So when I am journaling, guys, when I'm doing my journaling and I'm actually able to use a deck that has the 3 of Swords numerologically, I like to read it as what have I learned, or what do I need to learn to grow, to develop as a person? What have I learned lately that I need to process so that I'm able to move on? That's how the 3 of Swords numerologically comes up for me when I'm doing journaling and when I'm using tarot decks that actually allow for that. The only reason why I'm not showing you those tarot right now, or those cards, is because they're going to be in my favorite depictions of the Three of Swords video that I'm going to do next after this. But I will show you the sketch that I did for my numerological Three of Swords for my tarot. So if we go down to the down camera, you're going to see it. And here it is. Now you're going to see this open blank book, and we're going to see the swords. As you guys can see, they sort of resemble quills, but also pens. The what are they called? Oh gods, the handles. The handles of the swords, they also resemble pens, and they're pens rising from this blank book, for various reasons. So let me explain a little bit about the symbology. I have a lot of notes here about the card and why I chose to do this. But basically, these are the tools that we need to record our research and to record the experiences that we come across or learn from intelligence, from gathering that information, from absorbing that information. I'm a person who really likes to do research. I really like research a lot. When I don't know how to pronounce a word, or I want to learn the etymology of the word, when I want to learn about something new that I had no idea, you will see me looking it up because I like doing research and I like learning and I like absorbing information. The reason why this is a blank book, it's because being a 3 and being so early on in the suit, there is that intention, that action to research, and there is that intention to writing it down and putting it to paper. So it's a starting position to get to that 10, which is wisdom, right? And I'll talk more about that in the video where I'm going to talk about the numerological 10 of Swords. But so pens, and also we know that pens and swords are also compared with each other. The pen is mightier than the sword. And I roll my eyes because I actually don't like that phrase, but just to make the point, you know, there are tools that we can use to not only gather information, but record it. There's tools to help us. Always, 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 always. I like the rising of the pens, or in this case, the swords resembling the quills as well, as that growth and development that is going to happen from this book over here. I like books because also I'm a bookworm and I equate books with learning and intelligence. But also I equate books with escapism, and a healthy escapism. And I also equate books with knowledge and imparting of information being available to anyone who wants that information. That's why I love books so much. That's why I'm having a blank book over here. This is the opportunity that we have to record our experience. And that's why I did it for this Three of Swords. There's this rising of intellect and the mind that starts expanding in the 3, and that's why I love it. So that's why we're seeing all of that over here. Now, I crossed the swords the way that I did it because, well, it actually looks really good, as you guys can see. So it was aesthetic. But it also looks like sort of wings spreading, like thoughts being spread out, and imparting of that information to others. So that's why I did it that way. It made sense that way for me. The swirl over here that I drew, also coming out of the book, is the erratic experience that the mind goes through when we have a lot of information coming our way, and how we process it and the time that it does take, because sometimes our brain takes seconds to process the information, but sometimes we're processing information for a very long time, especially if we like it and if it's important to us. The brain just ponders and the brain goes on and analyzes. Analysis is another great word for, or another great basic meaning for the Three of Swords, but I do equate that better with another card in the sword suit, which I will talk about also later, in a later video. But yes, so here you go, guys. I am envisioning this Three of Swords with a teal background. Because even though I do equate yellow with, actually, maybe I should also color the book yellow in, well, I'll figure it out, no worries. But what I was gonna say, my favorite color is teal. And this is gonna have a teal background, maybe with a bit of yellow swirls in the back, because I equate the color teal not only with faith in yourself, but also with your mind capability. Maybe not intelligence as I define it, as the absorbing of information, but the capacity of your mind to retain that information, what's important to you. I equate that with the color teal. I have no idea why. Teal is one of my favorite colors. That's also that same phrase, that processing of the mind and what your mind chooses to retain is important. I also equate with with peppermint, the plant peppermint. Honestly, I don't know why that is, but there's a lot of connections there that I need to look, that I need to go over with myself. But as in any case, honestly, I have read very little with tarots that have numerological Three of Swords for others. But when I do, the Three of Swords does come up for people as, if it comes up upright, is having the information necessary to proceed, and if it comes reversed, is that the information is still lacking. There's still information that we don't have to proceed. So that's how I read that. For the exception of relationship readings, especially when it comes to romance, and I did write it down because I wanted to express it in the best way possible. So with relationships, when the card is upright for me, it points to the querent doubting or not trusting the other person, yet having all the correct information about them. So it's almost a feeling of too good to be true, but there's distrust. Even when it's upright, there's distrust, but that other person has been providing correct information. It's not too good to be true. That's what the upright meaning of the Three of Swords Numerological is for me in relationship readings. And when it comes reverse, it's actually there's withholding of information. So the querent is right to feel suspicious. Now, it's not anything veering towards cheating or the person having I don't know, something crazy like a completely different life or anything. It's just that there's not enough information to proceed. The person has been withholding information. That's what it comes out across when it's relationship readings. But as in any case, like for example, when I'm reading for others, and I actually, honestly, I mostly use numerological decks for myself. Except for Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Turian. I do use that for other people, and I'll that's another video too. But as in any case, guys, I hope that me providing some information about the numerological Three of Swords is helpful. But in conclusion, the numerological Three of Swords reads to me as intelligence, and I define that as the absorption of information. I don't really want to tell you guys how to read a card, because that is not the intention of this channel at all, or my intention. It's just to provide you with another layer so that you can apply it for your readings. I do have to say that, like I said before, reading numerologically is much better for me. I resonate better with the tarot even when I'm doing that. So that's what it is. Just another alternative, just another perspective. But I hope it helps, and I hope that you found it very helpful. And now I'm going to go and show you my favorite depictions in another video. But thanks so much for being here, YouTube. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, YouTube. Oh my goodness. What you need? Did you need some? You want to be in the video? Come on. You want to be in the video? Say hello to the camera, Vivi. Hello, hello, hello. Say hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, 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 hi. The trick is going to get Popo in the video, that's for sure. Okay. What am I doing today? Yes, reading numerologically, the Three of Swords. That's what I'm doing. Oh, and I'm wearing yellow. Yay! That's so good. Yellow, air, mind. Awesome.